Let's discuss the late binding or late binding and early binding. This concept is very much important when your code is um, when your code is running. So let's consider like when you write the so many code, and before running the code the compiler knows that what type of object it is. Okay, and what kind of method that particular object is belonging, and what type of data it will be stored. So these information compiler already know that what type of object, what type of method before running the code. So that's in this scenario we call that concept like early binding. But in come of the late binding, the compiler don't know. Compiler does not know what type of object it is and what kind of data it will be stored and what is the method. So for example, a dynamic keyword, when you when you create a dynamic variable and you can mention whatever the data, so that particular of variable compiler not know that what type of object it is. So when the code is running, then that particular of object dynamically created on the memory and that will be executed. So why this concept is describing? So the benefits of the early binding is that for example your 100% is code. So uh, so in the from the 100% of the code, the compiler already knows that there is a chances for the code breaking. So in the early binding, compiler identify is that any error or the type converger or typecasting is mismatched, then compiler show the error warning. So before running your code and happening the memory allocation, there is a so much time wastage, just because just because so many time wastage because your code is not properly written. So that's why this time is reduced by the early binding. But in the case of the late binding, compiler don't know what type of the code it is. If there is an error happening, that will be happen in the when your code is running. So in the 100%, 80% of the code, it may be late binding. So 80% compiler know that this 80% is not have the any issue, but another 20% objects are the late binding. Okay, so that much of 20% code is a risky code, so that might be a break when you run in the code. So early binding identify before allocating the memory running your code, so that it will reduce your time and identify the errors. So early binding is the very important concept, and late binding also happening for the dynamic variables. So that's it about it.